I was challenged to build a $300 gaming PC in 2023, and I decided to take it to the next level and only use new parts. And this is what I built for just $299.84. I decided to go with the AM4 platform at this price point. Even though it's a dead platform right now, there are still plenty of great upgrade paths, and it's affordable to get the part. I went with the MSI A520M-A Pro motherboard. This is a bare bones motherboard, but it fits in our price point and offers everything that we need to get up and running. When I first started this challenge, I spent hours poring over PC Part Picker trying to figure out how to fit a 5600G into the build. I really wanted to get that, but I couldn't make it fit. For $30 cheaper, the Ryzen 5 4600G offers almost the same performance as the $130 Ryzen 5 5600G, and it allows us to keep some other components in the build. Both of these options come with a cooler, so you don't have to spend money getting a separate one. I went with one 8GB stick of Patriot Viper 3200 MHz DDR4 RAM. I really wish I could have got 16GB, but 8GB will work, and you can always upgrade pretty affordably later on. For storage, I was able to get a 256GB P300 M.2 NVMe SSD. Really happy that I was able to get an M.2 drive for this build. I know that 256GB really isn't that much. You'll only be able to have 1 or 2 games in your operating system on there, but it will let you get going, and you can't really expect premium top tier performance at this price point. To power it all, I went with a Thermaltake Smart 500 watt 80 plus white power supply. This should leave you enough headroom to add in a graphics card later on, something like an RX 6600 or RTX 3050. To house it all, I went with a Thermaltake Versa H18 case for $44.99. So with all the parts, that brings our total cost to $299.84, coming in right below the $300 limit. Unfortunately, you do have to pay the tax, man, so the total cost went up to $322.84. I hope you'll forgive me for that. You'll notice I didn't grab a Windows key. That's because you can actually download the Windows operating system from Microsoft directly and run it without a product registration key. You'll just have to deal with an annoying watermark in the bottom right corner of your screen. However, if you have a key from an old system laying around, you can usually port that over, or you can always get a key later on. If you want to grab any of these parts or to replicate this build, I've left links down in the description below. Since we didn't get a dedicated graphics card, you'll have to run off the integrated GPU. You shouldn't expect stellar performance, but it'll get you going while you save money to put in a dedicated graphics card later on. I think if I was using used parts, I could have got a graphics card in. Let me know in the comments if you want to see me try and do a $300 used parts build. The build is going to perform better in older and lighter titles, so I just tested Rocket League and PUBG to give you a little bit of an idea of what the performance is at. In Rocket League at 1080p with performance graphics settings, I was able to get an average of 49.7 frames per second with 1% lows of 36.7. Playable but not enjoyable. PUBG was also playable at very low settings at 1080p. Frame rates averaged 35.2 frames per second with 1% lows of 15.4. Honestly, at this price point, you'd be better off buying a console, but if you just want to get something and get started in the PC gaming world, this build has lots of upgrade paths down the road. You'll definitely want to add another stick of RAM, more storage, and a dedicated graphics card. You could also upgrade the CPU to something like a 5600X. I really enjoyed this challenge, and I hope you did as well. If you did, you might like to check out my other budget build